In a moment, I'd like to talk about the grief of the loss of a loved one, particularly my mom, Norma Darbison Barnes. But I actually need to tell you an interesting story about this announcement. It says at the very bottom that my dad worked at the Ada Evening News and that he also was in the Army National Guard. My dad, being quite the jokester, was joked upon. The other gentleman at the Ada Evening News, around the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis, made a fake headline saying that my dad's National Guard unit was about to be mobilized to go directly to participate in Cuban activities. So needless to say, my dad freaked out. I don't think that people really freaked out in the early 60s, but whatever was the analogous term back then, I'm sure that my dad did that. So the jokester was joked upon. About 3 years ago, on June 9th, my mom passed. And so I was thinking about this verse, God blesses those who mourn, for they will be comforted. That's Matthew 5, verse 4. But as I think about my mom, she really was the last person to want to dwell on the loss, because she truly did believe she had a new home, a new home waiting, that this was not the end of the story. And so this morning, my sister Brenda from San Diego sent me this other Bible verse, 1 Chronicles 15:22. Kenaniah, the head Levite, was chosen as choir leader because of his skill. And so I really think that getting to the spirit of my mom, Norma Darbison Barnes, instead of grieving about her, think about the God-given gift or gifts that you have and develop those as a chosen vessel of God. Own it, and own it today. It also reminds me of another wonderful passage in 2 Chronicles 20, verse 21, that my sisters and I also love. Jehoshaphat was being invaded, and he thought he was going to be destroyed. After consulting God, it was decided that he had to suit up and go out and meet the enemy. But this is the beautiful statement. Listen to this. After consulting the people, the king appointed singers to walk ahead of the army, singing to the Lord and praising him for his splendor. This is what they sang: give thanks to the Lord, his faithful love endures forever. Can you possibly imagine in your wildest dream being this opposing force, seeing an army come against you, but in the distance hearing singing, not war drums, but singing, praise to God? Would this not be the most interesting and befuddling thing that you had ever heard? But once again, that characterizes my mom, not necessarily adding up to all of the grief and the dwelling on the grief, but thinking about how is it that we can be royal children of the King? How can we possess the gifts that he has given us and then march out into life victoriously? That is Norma Darbison Barnes. I love you. This is Brother Barnes. Until we meet again.